face. Yeah, they be trying to lie in our face, man. They tell you that the Moors is black, and then they tell you that they free white people. Yeah, you a Moor, and then you free white people. You're a free white person. They both can't make sense. See, when they say they free white persons, you gotta believe them. I believe them. No more lies. Stop lying to our face. Stop trying to bring us down and try to steal our reality. Stop lying. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's Moors trying to say that. Fake Moors. Dirty Moors trying to say that we Moors. They ain't even Moors. I told y'all Napoleon was a Moor. He changed his name to Ali Bonaparte. Ali Muhammad. He made his peoples Ali's and Muhammad's. That's what Napoleon did. All his peoples is Ali's and Muhammad's. Check it out. Ali Bonaparte is Napoleon's name. Why do people in North Africa speak French? Why they so light? Man, I'm about to get into it right quick, bro. See, they hide history and they lied to our face. Hiding history, telling you anything to get your dollar, to get your click and your view. But why don't they tell you about the slave sultans? Why don't they tell you about the Mamelukes? Right? The Abbasids. They don't tell you about no African dynasty. They just want to tell you about the Moors in Spain and the Moors in Europe. Well, what's going on in Africa at this time, cuz? See, that's why they don't, that's why I mean, it's hard to deal with these people, bro. They lie in your face. They want to just tell you anything. What was going on? Y'all just let the Moors just abandon Africa? And all they want to talk about is Spain and German. We was kings. Right? And we was kings, right? That's all they want to talk about. Let's talk about Africa. See, for over 400 years, Africa was ran, North Africa particularly, was ran by some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boys. Blonde-haired, blue eyes, and they loved them for their blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah. They ran all of North Africa, Egypt. Yeah, these is the real Moors. How do we know? Because in 1250, right? See, what happened was it was some people over there. I ain't gonna say these people is black neither, but it was a kingdom of people, right? They was buying slaves from Europe, from the Caucasus Mountains, y'all. For real, this is history, right? I gave y'all the name of the people. The people is called Mamelukes, 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 right? And what they was they were slaves from the Caucasus Mountains, Assyrians and Caucasians, right? Blonde hair and blue eye was what they was looking for. So they was grabbing all these people, right? So in the year 1250, they rebelled. The slaves rebelled. The white, blonde hair, blue eyed slaves rebelled, and they took over the sultanship. You know what I'm saying? So now the white boys is running the whole joint. They took over Egypt in 1250, took over North Africa, took over Tripoli, all of that stuff we talking about, right? Tripoli, Algiers, the white boys took it over, and they kept the slave trade going. What? This how sick it get. That's what I'm telling you about these white people and these North Africans and how they free white people. So the white boys kept the slave trade going. Why? Because to them it was like a badge of honor. the only person, after they conquered the whole shit, only person that could be the new sultan had to be a slave. Like, that's how they played it for like 400, 500 years, right? And when the sultan died, his son couldn't be the sultan because he was born free. Only people that could be sultans was slaves. It was the slave sultans, and that's how they ran it for 300-400 years. North Africa, Egypt, all that shit, Cairo. And these is the people that took off the that knocked down the pyramids, that took off the stuff off the pyramids. You know why the pyramids don't have that limestone no more? It's because of the Mamelukes. Yeah. See what I'm saying? They was in there from 1250 to 1700. And ain't nobody talking about that. Ain't nobody talking about the blonde hair, blue eyed, crazy sultan, killer sultans that want to kidnap everybody. Like, so when we think, that's what I'm saying, like, you know, the Moors were like, yeah, we was kidnapping them, and we was enslaving them. It wasn't no black people doing that. Black people wasn't doing that. That was these white boys. You see? That was these mercenaries, these janissaries. These white boys was the ones kidnapping other white boys. That's how they was playing. You see what I'm saying? These boys was crazy with it. That's how you know this whole thing is a lie. This whole thing is a trick. They trying to tell you about some blackamoor. That ain't no thing. If everybody's a Moor, why you gotta be a blackamoor? If all Moors is black, why you gotta be a blackamoor? So yeah, bro. I get it, man. Y'all caught up in these lies. Y'all caught up in these I want to be downs. This is masonry. These is masons. These is see, like, all right, so I'm saying, they talking about we got all these harems and all this stuff. What happened to the harems? What happened to the kids? Well, they became an elite army, right? They became an elite army of sellswords. You know what I'm saying? We call them Suaves. Napoleon, when he defeated them, he took and made these Mamelukes, these Suaves, into his elite bodyguards. When he went back to Paris, he was surrounded by these bodyguards, and everybody loved them because they had blonde hair and blue eyes, and these was Moors. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah, they run that. So when you think about the war, like through the halls of Tripoli and all that, it ain't no pirates. I'm not telling you no black pirates names or no black pirates of Algiers, because they white boys with blonde hair and blue eyes. That's not our history, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all gotta stop running around here being so exotic, just chasing information. Talking about you a Moor, and all these Moors is white people for 500 years, from 1250 to 1700, until Napoleon came and shot off the nose. Napoleon knocked them out. When Napoleon said, that's why he said he was Ali Bonaparte. He told them, he said, I'm a bigger Moor, I'm a bigger Muslim than they are. That's why the French got the best, got the best in the standard Islamic edition of the Quran. The French did it first. You see what I'm saying? And then they standardized it again in the 1900s and made everybody gotta use. The French standardized the calligraphy based upon a printing press. The way people calling it Arabic, the French printed that. You see what I'm saying? So that's why Napoleon, he coming in there like, yeah, I'm Ali Bonaparte. I'm the biggest Muslim in the world. That's how he was talking. You know what I mean? I'm the biggest, baddest Muslim in the world. And he out here looking at these blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, you see Malcolm X. Malcolm X went to Mecca. He said he was making prayers next to blonde. You like, what? Blonde hair, blue eyed Muslims. You like, what is he talking about? Yeah. They run that. The blonde hair, blue eyed Muslims is the Mamelukes. Okay? They the Suaves. They the ones that, like, that's why they say the Moors got the hidden knowledge. The Moors got the is the custodians of the Egyptian. Yeah, because they was sitting there on top of their land for 500 years. If Napoleon didn't come and shoot the nose off the joint, we wouldn't even know about it. Ain't no black Moors doing nothing. It's white boys selling each other into slavery, getting crazy off of it, making themselves king. And the way they used to work was the Venetians used to go to the villages up in the Caucasus Mountains, up in off the Baltic Sea, and they used to buy the kids directly from the parents, bro. Like we don't understand. We think it's a game. We looking at the movies and we reading everything they tell us. But the Venetians used to go buy these kids from their parents. You see what I'm talking about? And the parents would sell them because it was like, now like your kids get a chance to go be working for the Sultan. Get a chance to go work for the king or something. You out here in the woods living in a cave or something, and they gonna buy your kid and take you and make him into a diplomat, make him into a soldier. So they was selling their kids. You know what I'm saying? And then once they was selling their kids, all right, so y'all know how they say like the Muslims. This is how they, I ain't gonna lie, listen, you know how they say the Muslims, if you convert to Islam, then your status will change. You still be a slave, but your status will change. So now, once you convert to Islam, you get to help, you get to steal other people. You know what I'm saying? You get to get your own group of slaves. So that's how they played it. You know what I'm saying? They grab these kids, and then they get the kids to grab kids. Then they get the kids to grab kids. And it was like a thing. And they got all these harems and all this, you know what I'm saying? These concubines, which is the real breeding farm. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear about no Moors making up stuff, telling me about some fake history in Europe, and you from Africa, and the white boys in Africa, and the black people in Europe. You know what I mean? Y'all history messed up. Y'all missing something. Y'all missing something. Y'all gotta tell me how it got like that. I can tell you how it got like that. I can tell you how it got like that. Who was the first people that start going up in these mountains buying these Europeans and shit? You know what I'm saying? So don't be acting like y'all Moors coming here with no custodians and y'all don't know nothing. Y'all not no Moors. Y'all Masons. Y'all fools. Y'all got tricked. Y'all bought into something, wearing these funny ass hats, and they didn't even wear them hats like that. You know, they used to wear wool because they in the desert. These white boys in the desert. That's why they wearing these veils and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They wear that because they in the desert and they trying to protect their skin from cancer. They ain't trying to be lepers. So y'all gotta stop making up history, bro. Y'all don't need that. I get it. You was probably doing it because it was intellectual. You thought you was gonna do something. But no, the Moors is the enforcers of the law. I'm telling you, that's why Napoleon hired them. That's why the British hired, like, y'all don't even know. Again, yesterday I talked about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. They tell you that's the first treaty that they signed. But think about this. If the British, we all know that the British was buying German soldiers. They called them Hessians. If the British is buying Hessians as soldiers, don't you think the United States is going to try to figure out how can we buy some soldiers? Right? How can we figure out how to buy some people to fight these soldiers that they bought? So that's what they did. They went to Morocco and they started buying soldiers. They wasn't buying no slaves. The whole thing about the British people having slaves, that's a lie, bro. British people never had no slaves until they tell you about that 20-odd Negroes. Until they tell you about that first boat that came to Jamestown and brought those 20 and odd Negroes that they call Africans. And they didn't even call them slaves. They treated them like indentured servants. They just told you, go here and live with the Indians and shit. You know what I'm saying? So All that old slavery shit was not going on in England. England couldn't even keep the white boys was stealing all their people. Your boy King James was losing so many people to these pirates, to these janissaries, just coming stealing whole towns. Newport, Bristol, just come through snatching up people in the early 1600s. In one year, 1625, the pirates, these white boys, he changed his name. The white boy named Yusuf Riaz. Yusuf Riaz captured a whole island in England in the year 1625. And from this island, they was just going to other places in England, kidnapping people and bringing them back to this island. And King James ain't do nothing. When the year King James died is the year they went crazy bananas. King James ain't do nothing. So how they buying slaves? They not buying those slaves. So I gotta understand that this whole Moorish thing is a lie. These are some white boys stealing white boys, taking them and playing a slave salting game. People was running away to go join these sultans and shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, man, y'all gonna wait till I get into King James. Y'all gonna be confused, bro. Like, that's why we gotta show y'all that the Moors ain't the Moors, bro. The people that y'all thinking is the Indian, I mean that's in Europe, they not Moors, bro. The Moors is white boys in Africa. Alright, they free white persons. Don't get it confused.